Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. This is a Wednesday version where we are in prime time, and we're just coming off a very powerful pundit. Boy, Jacob, we definitely nailed these topics in every way, shape, or form, didn't we?
Absolutely, we did.
All right, we want to welcome our newest member of the team, Mitch Weinstein. Why don't you give us a quick overview, Mitch, a little bit about you, then we're going to get to the topics after I introduce the crew, just so you know that before you do, the audio version of the Sports Exchange can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. This show is being broadcast around the world. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? No problem. Send topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com, or you can go ahead and be very active in the chat room, and that would be good too. Also, if you want to advertise cost efficiently, call me 954-304-4941. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And my Twitter handle is at Tribune South. And the website designed by Candy Ebling is www.southfloridatribune.com. All right. So as I said, we have a really good crew. I have a feeling that the chat room is going to get real busy. So, Mitch, welcome to the show. Glad you're part of the team. I'm looking forward to bringing Wayne on. And then, of course, Matt Jacobs will be coming on in our little revolving Wednesdays. Mitch, thank you for being on.
Excellent. My pleasure to be here. South Florida guy. I announced high school football at Hallandale and University School. I worked for U.S. Soccer, Canadian Soccer, and the Miami Fusion. So I've got a good sports background all around. High school basketball, high school football, and many professional sports and many other pretty much not a sport that I can't touch. So it's good. I'm happy to be here. I look forward to working with you guys and have a great show.
We will too. All right, George Eichhorn, you're getting a lot of business activity this week, although I'm giving you the day off tomorrow.
Okay, thanks for having me on tonight, Scott.
And JB Ellis.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. Jeremy Ballreich is what's going on.
Yeah, I just left one show and now I'm on here. How'd that happen? Just kidding.
My goodness, I can tell. And last but not least, Jacob Christner. A long time no see, about a minute.
No, about a minute or so, maybe two. Man, I'll tell you this. And I don't know if it's if we're feeling sorry. It's entertaining to see all that smoke going around the Yankee Stadium in New York. That's crazy right now.
All right. Well, let me blow through the chat room, get through the topics. I don't want to feel like I'm short-sighting everybody. But everybody that's in the chat room, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. And for those that are coming in, I'll say it again. So I have a wide range of topics. It's probably one where I'm going to have to use a highlighter and carry them over to next week. That's how busy today has been. So Mitch Malak, Super Bowl or bust? I don't know. I don't know if we're talking about that or
that's
not.
Mark Malik. Yes, that's one of my buddies. He's a Lions fan. He's saying that's our goal. Super Bowl or bust.
All right. That sounds good. Keegan Eckert, welcome back. Will Vogel, as usual. Hello, guys. Wayne Weinstein has a date with us at some point. Keegan Eckert, hi, guys. And Patty Grimes, what's up? I'll tell you what's up. And here's our first topic of the night. Guess we have no choice but to talk MLS because it was force-fed this topic. But let's talk about the fact that Lionel Messi is on the verge of landing at Inter Miami. And I'm going to get to some interesting numbers in a moment. Not a done deal, although I think it is done. It just got updated. But it's believed that the 35-year-old contract is expected to purchase a stake in the MLS club when he finishes his career in the league. Like current owner David Beckham, MLS partners Adidas and Apple apparently contributed to getting Messi to the United States. He'll get a portion of the revenue from the new subscribers to the league's streaming package on MLS Season Plus and Apple Plus. Also, Apple announced Tuesday that the 4-part documentary about Messi's 5 career World Cups appearances will be exclusively available on Apple TV this year. So now I want to go over a couple key numbers here that really strike me to be really interesting. Okay. Number one, and I've covered Inter Miami. Okay. But here's the thing. Yeah. And you know what, Wayne, we might as well go ahead and mention this too, because that might be part of what this is going on. Inter Miami let Phil Neville go. So for all we know, this might have been something in the works to get. Wayne mentioned is Tata Martino will be named the head coach. Well, yeah, who knows what goes on behind the scenes with athletes. But here's the thing, okay? Now, we're flipping around the horn. Messi is already making a difference in Miami. The Messi effect is this. The cheapest ticket for Miami's July 21st match prior to adding Lionel Messi would be all of $29, okay? Now, the cheapest ticket for Miami's July 21st match after adding Lionel Messi would be $477. Get that. Now, when you talk about where he could have gone, Camp Nou, which is FC Barcelona's stadium, okay, you're looking at 99,354, and Dry Pink Stadium, a place I've been to all too many times, 19,100. Folks, I bit off a lot of facts here, and what I'm going to do is incorporate the new guy, Mitch Weinstein. Tell me what you got.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, one thing that everybody needs to remember is that Messi is still joining an MLS team, and he's going to be playing with MLS players. So I wouldn't expect Messi to go from where he was at PSG to come in Inter Miami and make them a spectacular contender right away. His former teammate Gonzalo Higuain was here for a couple of years, and he probably didn't really make the mark that he thought he was going to make. I remember, in fact, a statement from Gonzalo Higuain said, I was going to come in, smoke some cigarettes, and score a lot of goals. That's what he said. So, I think it's a great signing for the MLS. It's another high profile. I believe I read today that he is the 5th player to win the Ballon d'Or award.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like he froze. Yep.
See,
he was your backup for the sorority girls.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. There it is.
All right, there, Mitch. When he comes back, then we'll get the rest of his input sooner or later. And you don't want to hear me sing the song, but anyways, we'll turn it over to George Eichhorn, and then we'll put him back on. So let's go back to the.
There he is.
All right, go ahead. I think we got him back. Go ahead.
I'm sorry about that. So the one thing everybody needs to remember is Inter Miami is the worst team in the MLS right now. They've scored the least goals in the MLS right.
Oh, there he went again. Yep, that's
Okay.
right.
Well, that's Inter Miami freezing him from saying the truth.
I'll pick up Scott. Trevor Francis in Detroit, the Detroit Express, way back in the day, outdoor league. They picked up Trevor Francis from England, and it was a fantastic move by Detroit. So I'm all for this. When you get a guy like Messi, I mean, this guy world champion. I mean, you're talking big time for the MLS. So I'm all for it, and it looks like we got him back, Scott.
All right, so go ahead. Mitch, complete your thought. I want to make sure we get to the panel so we get to as many topics as we can.
In completing my thought, it's the best day ever for MLS signing Leo Messi. I mean, you are bringing in, whether he's 35 years old or not, he showed everyone in the world what he can do in the World Cup at 35 years old, and there's no doubt that he's still got it. So you're bringing in a player that is, while he's 35 years old, he's still in his prime. Okay, none of the other players that came here, that's Thierry Henry, Andrea Pirlo, David Beckham, they were not in their prime. They were older and they were phasing out, and they weren't at the same capability that Leo Messi is. So Leo Messi, the one thing that I laugh about this whole thing is what Scott just read about what the tickets are here. Why don't you go look about what the tickets are for Inter Miami playing at the away stadiums, where they normally get $400 a ticket. I read today that there's tickets going in Toronto for $2,000 a seat for when they play at Toronto later this year.
All right, George, pick it up. I want to get to everybody. Let me go through the comments real quick. Hold on.
Yeah,
right. Hold on, George. Comments. Okay, let's continue to ride through them. Turn down $500 million to go to Qatar. Well, okay. Let's continue on. Obviously, comments are top right. I don't know why Messi's going to Miami. Reminds me of Tony Miola playing kicker for the Jets in '99.
Wow.
That's adding a little bit of it. Let's keep going there. All right, we know Will Vogel. Got to make sure we get his 2 cents in. All right, a lot of pass. Go ahead, George. Read this one.
A lot of players past their prime normally go to MLS. Players such as Pele. Also, Messi is still one of the most recognizable athletes in the world and a world-class player. Oh, no question about it.
Well, Pele, though, okay, get your research in order. He went to the North American Soccer League. Maybe
right. And Cosmos.
All right,
Yep.
so that doesn't matter. I get the understanding, but wrong league. Denzel Snipes, international soccer players playing in America. Laugh out loud. Okay, there we go. I speak faster than these coming in, and I feel like an Indy 500 tonight here. All right, Indy. All right, let's keep them going. Well, all right, here we go. Here's another one from Will. Messi has won numerous trophies, whether it's international. All right, okay, tell me something new. All right, let's see. Here's another one. Our futures.
Mitchie.
Wherever you're at, there you go. You'll be on this soon enough. And of course, let's go back to right. I just mentioned this.
We already have.
Yep, we already got that.
All right, so let's
Thank
keep
you,
going.
Wayne.
Josh Bernstein usually makes his way. Do you talk PJ yet? No, but it's
Not
good
yet.
enough. Josh, hang in there with us. And good evening, gentlemen. All right, did I speak fast enough? Okay, now we get over to Jacob, who's been waiting patiently. George, anything else you want to say to it or not? Are you good?
No, go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Jacob.
This is going to be a very interesting situation logistically. First off, he's used to playing in a 105,000 seat stadium. Inter Miami's 18,000. They are going to get all these tickets that are $477 a pop at your lowest and probably $2,500 at the highest. But that's going to fill up in a hurry. It's going to be like a Taylor Swift concert. That's just going to be. It's not going to be long before they use the Dolphin Stadium and fill it. And it's just not going to. And that's just the truth. They're not going to have enough. They're just not going to have enough room for these. There's going to be standing room onlys. There's going to be all this stuff, and they're going to have to move to the football stadium. And it is. But, this is reminding me of the whole Ted Lasso thing with Zava. If anybody watched that, it's the whole deal, and you're expecting him to be meditating and then giving ridiculous stuff and then leaving 5 games in. You're expecting all of that, but at the same time, we don't have Ted Lasso here. So that part's a little different. But overall, this is wonderful for the area. It's wonderful for the area, and it's wonderful because like you said, like they said, anybody that ever came around there before was past their prime. This is not. So this is wonderful for the sport to get the name out there, and it's going to get other international players, other big ones there.
Okay, we'll move over to Jeremy.
All right. It is a great move for Major League Soccer to get Lionel Messi in there, and it's a great move for Interleague Miami. Because the one thing he can do is what they can't do, score goals.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, all right, JB, you get the last word on this one.
Great move. Listen, I've gone to a couple of games with the Chicago Fire. It's a great league. It's only gotten much better today. Smart move by the partners, by the league itself. Great move. When you could bring in somebody the caliber of Messi, that would be like if FIBA brought in Michael Jordan to go play, for Barcelona basketball. It was a phenomenal move. You can't argue that. And the fact that the partners ponied up, Apple paid, Adidas got involved. They want to grow this league. And a couple of weeks ago, I was at the one of the conferences they had on concussions. They're on the forefront of the issues, unlike other leagues in this country where concussions are much more prominent. I asked them while I was there about that, and the fact that they want to prevent the injuries. I like the way that the league is structured. They have great leadership, and it was proven today how great their partnerships are with their sponsors. Phenomenal move.
Well, let's face the reality. I covered Inter Miami, and you know what? They're going to be moving into their new Miami stadium at some point in 2, 3, 4 years. I know that's been forever trying to figure that out. And I will say,
Sorry.
Well, hold on, Mitch. Okay. Going back to what I was saying, all right, Drive Pink Stadium to me is one of the better 19,000 seat stadiums I've ever seen. I miss the old Lockhart Stadium, but hopefully, if anything comes out of this whole thing, okay, that they'll expedite the stadium situation in Miami now that you have a guy who's a gate attraction. All right. I know we could talk about this topic all night, but we're not going to because there's other things we have to do. That's why the highlighter is getting a workout tonight because I have to prioritize everything. But we're going to stay in our neck of the woods anyhow. But with his 2 hits last night versus Kansas City, Luis Arraez is hitting .401 for the Marlins. He hit for the cycle this year, first time in franchise history. And I was at their game on Saturday night against the Oakland A's. He had 5 hits, 5 RBI, and a 12-1 win over Oakland, a franchise record. And you want to talk about a win-win situation by Kim Ng trading for pablolopez Twins. All right. You know what, Mitch, we're going to let you, and I'm going to go around in this order throughout the whole time. Want to get to as many topics as we can, but go ahead, Mitch.
So great move by the Marlins. They're a pitching-rich organization, and they picked up. The funny thing is the Marlins have not one, but they have the last two American League batting champions, Yuli Gurriel and Arraez. Arraez, if you watch the World Baseball Classic, Arraez hit in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
Every time he talks,
watching him hit makes everything perfect. Freezes everything up.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, they do have the last two. They definitely do have the last two batting champions with Gurriel.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, George, give me your thoughts on this, and then Mitch will hopefully be able to get back on and complete his thought.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story, Scott. I mean, he's hitting over 400, and that's always the magic number. And obviously, nobody has ever equaled it since the last time it was done. But I'll tell you what, this kid's got a lot of power, a lot of potential, and he is just a flat-out great ball player. It's a great move by Miami to obtain him in that trade. And I'm telling you what, I hope that more fans come out down there to support the Marlins, because this kid's he's the real deal.
Okay, well, you know what? We'll turn over to JB. I know that Mitch is having a few technical problems. I'm sure he'll be back, but go ahead. We'll keep moving it along. All right, JB, this Luis Arraez kid is special.
He's special. We're not going to count what he did against Oakland. I mean, we could probably get a couple of hits against Oakland. But
that was a great game to watch.
We did. We got all three against them.
Listen, we're talking about Oakland now. But besides for what he's done against Oakland, he's having a great season. He's not going to hit 400. We still got a long summer to go. But enjoy it while it lasts. It's nice to see the Marlins with a guy on offense that we're excited about. A guy hitting. We talk about their young pitching all the time. It's good to see that they got somebody that somebody that's hitting that we're excited about. But I say he could probably end up somewhere around 340 by the end of the year, and that would be phenomenal, because guys don't hit like that anymore.
All right, let's go back to Mitch. You back?
Yeah, I'm back. I apologize. I don't know what's going on, internet issues, but whatever.
He's shoving himself in front of me.
No, I mean, when you can grab a batting champion from the American League, for a pitcher that he's a good pitcher, pablolopez, but he's not infallible, and you just made your team much better. They're hitting great. It's carried over. He's a leader in the clubhouse, and it's contagious, and everybody's hitting around him. He's making guys like Dela Cruz better hitters, and everybody except obviously Jacob Stallings, who can't hit at all. But it was a great move for the Marlins. I give Kim Ng all the credit in the world, and let him keep building off of that, because I think they have a nice base of a team right now.
Okay, we'll turn over to Jacob.
Well, the whole thing with Kim Ng is that everything that I brought up, and you're probably going to prove me wrong on this, Scott. Like what I was saying, I was thinking she gets one more shot, and the thing is they're winning. They're winning on this, so it's like good for them. I like what she's building. It's like that's what the whole point is. I wanted her like on the white. I didn't like the idea with Miami because I wanted her to get a shot. She's built something in Miami though, and she's building something well. She's done well with these pickups. And as far as the 400, no, it's still too long. There's going to be this same people that had Jacob deGrom be, the same media that had Jacob deGrom being the best, like Bob Gibson. Look where he's at now. Surgery number 4,200. But it's like, this is what they do. Everything's code red 10,000. But it's fun to watch right now. Kids, if he finishes 300, it'll be about 310 or 15. And it's still going to be fun. And this team is going to be, and the thing is, truthfully, if they start winning, they're going to need a new stadium with some real estate around so that people can have fun around it.
Don't hold your breath there. That'll never happen down in Miami.
But knowing what everybody else is doing, like in Atlanta, Chicago, all these areas, that's what Miami needs.
Jacob, you don't even realize that area got hosed, and I could devote a whole show on that. Mitch knows it. So all right, Jeremy, and then we're going to get on to some golf.
It was a great trade. I mean, anytime you can take a decent to good pitcher and get a guy that plays that well. And I kind of agree more with JB. By the end of the season, he'll be between 340 and 355. The way he's hitting. He's multiple hitting almost every pitcher he faces.
Well, I mean, say about Kim Ing is she's working within the salary structure that she has, the budget. So you have to work wisely and not spend a lot of money. Look at the Tampa Bay Rays. They find a way. If the Marlins can somehow, some way bring enough good baseball people and go about it the Rays way, then they could be efficient. Again, neither team draws for their own respective reasons. Go ahead, Jeremy.
And to add to that, if they keep winning, the fans will start coming. That's the thing. They have not been a consistent winner. And when you're not a consistent winner, your fandom dips. We're seeing it in Detroit right now because this team goes back and forth. But the fact they're in second place should have brought more fans out than it does, and it's not. It's sad.
Right. Well, the reality in Miami is this, okay? I think it's one. I hate to say this because I live here, but Mitch probably might. It's one of the worst sports towns in the country. They're fair weather fans in every sense. But but the reality is the Marlins, okay, they have a great stadium, wrong area, but Kim Ing is doing a good job. She running a good. I finally met Skip Schumacher for the first time, one of the most level-headed, down-to-earth guys I've ever seen. I love Don Manning, don't get me wrong, but you knew that Kim was eventually going to go there. But the one thing that we're losing sight of what Kim Ing's all about, if she has good success as a general manager in Major League Baseball, you're going to look at women differently in that role.
Well, the thing about it is with Kim,
let me finish, okay?
Okay.
Please. If she has success as general manager, who knows who the next female general manager could be? And Kim is setting a good example. Go ahead, Jacob.
Well, no, the thing about Kim is this is what I'm saying now. Even being 34 and 28, even being that right now, just there, no one would have seen it coming throughout the season. They would have thought it'd be 68 wins or something. Even being 34 and 28, if it was proven right that I'd said she'd have one more year, I don't think so now, but if it was proven right and they let it go, she's got a job in 14 seconds. She's got another job in 14 seconds. There's going to be about 5 or 6 openings, and she's going to get the first one because just the type of people within the, as you said, the salary structure she's picked up. And it's like she's shown that she has earned her way on this.
Yeah, but you know what, Jacob? She's not leaving Miami.
No. I'm just saying, even if it was, it's obvious that she earned her way in this league.
And how are we forecasting 68 wins with a really good pitching staff?
Well, no, but I'm just talking about there just because of Miami's past.
Right.
It's just like
I was just curious. I mean, because that's a pretty low number of wins, especially when you have a lot of teams in baseball that don't have any pitching.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just talking about. Remember, I don't think anybody saw the hitters that they have right
now.
Well,
as the year goes on, and I'm going to approach this, you got to remember though, JB, Sixto Sanchez is regarded as a really top pitching prospect. He's been hurt. Max Meyer. They've had a couple players that they expected to go out there and carry the staff for a while. But as I go deeper into the year, I've only been to a handful of games, and this is my first opportunity to talk to the manager. I'll be diving deeper into all of this, so we'll have future things to talk about on the show as well. But I'm just anxious to see how well she does. And right now, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt because she's made some pretty shrewd moves in the offseason. And you know what? They're playing awfully good baseball right now. All right, you know what? Again, I've never had a show since we've been doing this that had so many stories that could have qualified for our top story. But this is probably our first one. All right, Joshua Bernstein's been waiting for us to talk about. Did you talk PGA yet? Joshua, if you're still here, we're going to do it, okay? And I know you're probably divided between the Heat and this, but the PGA Tour has agreed to merge with LIV Golf. It'll be interesting to see how this dynamic will go with team golf. And added to this equation, you have the merger, reminds me of the NBA ABA merger, the NFL ABA, and of course the NHL WHA. I'm only going to say this one time, and I mean one time. Phil Mickelson and Greg Norman look like absolute geniuses, and all these other golfers that could have gone and played LIV and got a lot of money are probably the LIV Ed. All right. So with that said, George Eichhorn, take it from there.
Yeah, it really was a stunning announcement. And the fact that the negotiations were going on behind the scenes, even guys like Woods didn't know about it, and neither did McIlroy. Supposedly didn't know anything about it till the announcement came. I'm quite surprised. I really am. I thought the PGA had their heels dug in, PGA Tour, and I didn't think it was going to happen, at least not this quickly. But the fear of all the litigation and the lawsuits flying back and forth between the two golf factions, I think led the guys together to sign on the dotted line. But yeah, I mean, it is unfair to those that stuck it out, though, the PGA Tour guys that didn't go. And of course, some bitter words were had. But I'll tell you what, I says the Saudis are now pretty much, running the pro golf, men's pro golf. And I don't know if I'm in favor of that.
Well, while you're at it, why don't you read what Joshua Burstein said in the chat room?
Yeah, Joshua, if there's anything to learn from the PGA LIV, it's don't turn down Saudi money.
That's true there.
All right, let's continue to work our way through the chat room. Okay, different. All right, we're going to go back to Wayne with the soccer, although we're moving on to golf. The difference is NASL got international players in their prime. MLS hasn't done that until today. I think that comment's fair. And okay, we know. Let's see, salaries are what killed the NASL. Let's keep going. Another multi-hit. Well, all right, Wayne. Another multi-hit game today, and they're feasting against the Royals. And now, of course, Wayne goes on to say the Marlins have a 6-game winning streak. Doesn't hurt when you have the bottom feeders in the American League.
Oakland and Kansas City.
3 today, and then Oakland. But you know what? I was asking Skip Schumacher what he thought about sweeping the A's, and he tried to downplay it as much as he could. And the way I look at it, to me, is hey, every team is good. He's just trying to do what he has to do. So with that said, well, let's continue on. All right, to JB.
Listen, money ruled the day. There was a lot of money in LIV. PGA basically got bought out, no matter how you look at it. And when you hear the comments a year ago, now to agree to merge, I get why it was done. I'm disappointed that would be the way that it would go. But ultimately, money ruled the day. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to protect your organization. And the PGA doesn't have the money to compete with the Saudi money. So, LIV presented a merger. It was easy. And they also brought in the European Golf League as well. So it's a worldwide merger, which is interesting.
Yeah, Ken Ballrick, I'm dead set against the merger, especially since Saudi Arabia had a hand in 9/11. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way you do. Nevertheless, it still happened. Denzel Snipes, Josh is right. If the price is right, they will forget about a certain journalist. Sad but true. I'm one of them, but not one of those. Saudis offered 7 ones to join LIV. LOL. Yeah, I think the whole thing's a little bit laughable. It's not, but we're going to turn over to Mitch.
The only thing that I have to say on the whole thing is that, number one, it's all about money, and the Saudis provided a lot of money. It was almost ridiculous, the amount of money that they were paying these golfers. But really what it comes down to, what it boils down to, is you have one organization for all the best players in the world, and that's what it should be. Shouldn't be competing organizations. Should be one organization where the best players are playing against the best players every weekend.
Now it's really funny. The Saudis offered 7-Elevens to join LIV.
That's funny.
Now that's funny.
I'm actually going to go ahead and turn over the chat room to Jeremy. But first of all, before I do that,
don't laugh at my brother's jokes.
What's that, Mitch?
Jeremy, don't laugh at my brother's jokes, please.
That one was pretty good.
Well, he has to get used to it. Don't worry. When he's on, he'll get it. Right now, you're the only Weinstein that we've seen in person. So,
good.
We have to deal. Then when Wayne gets his turn, it'll be another story. But all right, Jacob, comment on this, and then we'll get Jeremy.
Boy, how did I go after this on Pundit? Boy, did I ever.
Pick it up where you left off.
3 episodes on LIV. Everybody has seen my Facebook and my Twitters. I have been telling about things that were going to happen with LIV. I did not see the merger coming, but I did see them changing things. JB saw that. George has seen my stuff. I have said they're going to change things. I said they're not going to go anywhere. They can lose money, and they lost money, and they can continue to. And then, like, you know what all of this was, and I keep bringing this up, is everybody brings up 9/11. That is correct and true. They bring up Jamal Khashoggi. That is correct and true. But all of that stuff was not cared about until Donald Trump. And the thing is, and there were so many years, they did not care until that point. This is the truth. Donald Trump is the guy you go hate on right now. It is 80s WWF pro wrestling. And that is what the thing is. And they wouldn't have cared about all this stuff if there was Hillary in office. And guess what? I'm sorry. There was more than Jamal Khashoggi out there that got killed as a journalist, and you know that. That is what Saudi Arabia is. But China's also dangerous. The Ukraine's also dangerous. Russia's also dangerous. The world dangerous. And the thing is to keep going after LIV because they decided to create golf and to give something a little different, and now they won. Oh, you're playing this moral game now. No, this is what life is. Life's dangerous. They make decisions. They make monetary decisions that every one of us would have made. Period. End of story. It was a good deal. And I didn't see the merger this fast or even at all. But I knew they were going to change things. They had already changed it with PGA. When PGA decided to go with some of the non-cut events and the higher money, that higher money, guess what? The non-cut events means everybody gets paid. That the money and everything like that, it was draining their resources. They had to do it. So the people that are going all over this, the players and the fans, they can just grow up.
Well, I'll say it before I turn over to Jeremy. Like I said earlier, Phil Mickelson and Greg Norman look like geniuses. Okay, Jeremy, that and keep going in and out of the chat room and keep us going there too.
Oh, well, Will Volks told my dad hi, and my dad said hi, Will Volks. But anyways, do they bring up 7-Elevens there? And Wayne Weinstein's asking about us. No, we bring up a lot of things, but normally anything politics or business-wise, we don't unless it's sports business. So therefore, this was a move to save the PGA. The PGA was going bankrupt. Eventually, all the players would have switched to LIV. Eventually, it sucks, and I do agree. Oil money is what rules the world right now. That's why you got what happened with Russia and Ukraine. That's why you got what's going on with China. That's why you got this going on. So that being said, it's done. There's nothing we can do about it except maybe tune them out.
Okay, comment. Greg Norman is likely out, though. Do you guys agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, he surprisingly, Scott, he is not listed among the top officials of the new tour.
Okay.
So,
Jeremy,
Greg,
he's paid out.
you really think the PGA was going to go bankrupt? They would have lost golfers. They would never go bankrupt.
No, but they don't have the same. Here's the thing, JB. They don't have the same resources that Saudi does.
Well, I actually thought that the merger would have happened in 2 years, but it happened way sooner than I ever thought.
But to say that they were going bankrupt, they would have been fine for years to come. That this was a much easier route, and if you're running the PGA, there's no reason not to take the money and run. I mean, you'd be crazy to do that if you're running a business.
Greg Norman, when the announcement was made, actually stood up and walked out of the room.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Okay.
Well,
That's
here's
why
the thing,
he's
though.
out.
Norman's paid. He got his pay. You know that.
Right.
yeah, he did.
Well, and not only that, Norman made his point. Golfers were being treated poorly, and it led to everything that happened. So he ended up walking out a winner in more ways than we'll ever realize because he changed the game of golf forever by making the move to do what he did. Now look where we're at. So, all right, let's move on to the next topic. Okay, this one a lot of Detroiters are probably familiar with. Mike Babcock, the new coach of Columbus. I think he took a money grab to go to the Torontomapleleafs in the first place, and I do believe he should have never left the Detroit Red Wings in the first place. All right, George, you're to my right. What do you think?
No, I have to disagree on that, Scott. I'm glad he did leave Detroit. He had worn out his welcome. The players were not listening to him anymore. It was time for him to move on. Plus, look at all that money. You talk about money grab. Oh, my God, what Brendan Shanahan and the Maple Leafs gave Babcock. And where did that end up? Right on the you-know-what floor. Mike's a good guy. He's a hard worker. He knows the sport. I'm not questioning that. But he wears out his welcome after a while. I wish Columbus a lot of luck, and I hope he can turn things around because they've been pretty bad the last couple of years, the Blue Jackets. But like I said, he kind of wore out his welcome in Detroit and Toronto, although he did win Detroit a Stanley Cup. I give him that. Obviously a big plus there. So I wish you good luck, Babs.
Well, he lasted 2.5 years and got to take some money from Brendan Shanahan. So I guess he made out in the checkbook and then laid low until this came on. All right, JB.
Listen, you got to go and find who you think the best person for your organization is.
Right.
Nothing wrong with it. I'm not opposed to it. He's a good coach, kind of like a Buck Showalter in baseball. More people follow baseball, so I'll use that as an example. One of the great managers in the game, but after a few years, he runs out his welcome. Nobody, wants to perform for him anymore. When he was with the first year he was out of Baltimore, I went down to spring training. And, that was the sentiment from a lot of the writers that were around the team. And, as I was asking them what was going on, how they liked the new staff, they were like, Buck just ran out his welcome. He was here, The staff was a lot older. They didn't really look at the young kids, and you saw they brought in new blood, and it changed. It kind of reminds me of that, with him being similar to that type of coach.
Well, you can also add Gerard Gallant to the equation, where he works
Yeah.
his welcome pretty soon. And a guy that had a chance to watch him here in town is Mitch Weinstein. So while you're nodding your head, you're going back and forth, you can pick up where I left off and talk about it, Mr. Weinstein.
Yeah, Gerard Gallant's a great name to bring up. If he had the talent that the Panthers have now, God only knows what he would have done. He's a great coach. But Mike Babcock, good coach, but couldn't get over the hump in Toronto. Obviously, he won. He had great talent in Toronto, couldn't win. He won last year, beating Tampa Bay in the playoffs, and everybody thought pretty much that he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And the Panthers put an end to that this year quickly. However, I will tell you one thing that's funny with him going to Columbus. Number one, it's a reclamation project. I wouldn't expect anything for 2 to 3 years in Columbus. They don't have much talent there. They're devoid of a lot of talent left. And, the one thing I remember here is go back and look at all the newspaper articles, what people were saying in November about Paul Maurice, because they wanted to fire him. They were all over him. He's not the guy, He should have kept Andrew Burnett, all this stuff. It's basically what the talent you have around you and what you could do with that talent. But I can tell you now, Columbus doesn't have much talent. It's going to be 2 to 3 years, and let's see if they give him the 2 to 3 years. Because if they don't give him the 2 to 3 years, then he's going to be going pretty quick.
All right, Jeremy, read the.
Wayne Weinstein pipes in. That's Mitch's brother, evidently. Toronto had some good players this year, could only get so far. Columbus doesn't have the talent of the Babcock-led Detroit or Toronto teams. Lots of work ahead. And, Mitch just basically said the same thing. There's more to add to that, and I will in a minute.
All right, go ahead, Jacob.
You know something? You got a 60-year-old coach. But you talk about he wears out his welcome. Does that make him this era's Mike Keenan? Just like it makes you wonder. But the thing is, when you've got a 60-year-old coach and he's worn out in the bigger areas, in the bigger hockey areas, Columbus isn't that good. What if this is his last run? And what if it's his last run and he has something to work toward? You can be a teacher of players that don't have as much talent. You don't get as near as much pressure as you would have. Toronto's waiting for that 1967 all over again to keep watching the YouTube videos. Detroit's wanting their team back. There is all kinds of pressure there. There's not going to be the same pressure in Columbus. He is not exactly a 30-year-old coach. He's 60 years old. This is the time where you can take a deep breath a little bit. You can be able to build a squad. People aren't going to expect the Stanley Cup right away. Why not? Why not take the thing? Because this is probably his last shot, or maybe second to last shot at least. You know what I'm saying? Then whether it works out or not, you can retire. You can just say, well, I did this last part was teaching, my teaching years.
Well, let me tell you this. I've been to a game in Columbus against the Red Wings, and that's a much different crowd. So I think he'll be well received there. John Tortorella was. You don't have the media pressure there either. So, as long as management stays with him, gives him an opportunity, I think he's in everything to gain, nothing to lose situation there. I really do. So, all right, Jeremy, go ahead, pick up on what I just said or something else.
Well, and I'm going to equate it to the one sport that everybody watches even more than baseball, and it's been proven in the ratings, and that's football. Mike Babcock is a Tom Coughlin type of coach. He's a tough pressure guy that's going to make him obey. He doesn't go for that. And that's what's wrong with Columbus is they don't have that fundamentally sound discipline. He's a very disciplined type of coach. And he will get that out of those guys. And by getting them disciplined, they'll get better.
Okay. All right. Next subject. 2 Cleveland Brown players were robbed at gunpoint. Cornerback Greg Newsome II and defensive tackle Perrion Winfrey at 3:30 a.m. Monday. Suspects fled in Newsome's truck. All I'm going to say about the whole thing is 3:30 in the morning. Really? Why are you out that late? I don't think anything happens good after 2 in the morning anyways. But meanwhile, 2 Cleveland Browns got robbed. I just think, I have empathy for the players, but 3:30 in the morning, get real. You should be at home anyways. I feel bad what they went through. Part of this is all, to me, that it's their own fault. That's all I'm going to say about it, George. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree, Scott. I mean, that was my first reaction. That's awful late to be out, especially you're a pro athlete. I mean, you're supposed to be having some discipline, take care of your body, take care of your sleep and whatever, you need to do. And I know it's the off season. Okay, guys, I get that. But the fact of the matter is thugs are waiting out there around any corner for any of us guys and ladies. And it's a shame, but you just got to guard against this kind of stuff happening. But yeah, I mean, they really shouldn't have been out that late. But like I said, OTAs or whatever was going on, obviously they should have had a curfew, because I believe there still is one, isn't there?
I don't know what they do
during the OTAs.
I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right, JB.
I don't know. Unfortunately, we're all adults. We can go out to whatever time we want. I can't blame them for being out. But you do put yourself in harm's way when you're in bad situations. Not much good happens at 3:30 in the morning.
Right.
When you're a professional player, you're an athlete, people know who you are, you're a target. It's a shame. The world shouldn't be like that. Thankfully, they're okay. The car can be replaced, but, it's just a shame that the world is that way.
All right, well, Mitch, go ahead.
So the Browns started mini camp on Tuesday. So the question is, obviously they just probably got back into town the week before. They probably hadn't seen each other. Bad decisions. That's all. Greg Newsome. Two defensive players. I bet the defensive coordinator was quite thrilled to know that his players are going out till 3:30 in the morning the day before training camp starts. Listen, you're professional athletes. You do what you want. Your body's your temple, but you have to be smart. You make millions of dollars. Stupid stuff. What about why are they driving around? They both make probably enough money. They probably should have a driver anyway. To be honest.
No, I think you're right there.
That's what it really is. These
OTAs,
athletes
give me
go
a
out.
break. You need a driver during OTAs, really?
You need a driver all the time, probably, these guys.
I don't know.
The young kids, they make bad decisions, and that's what it is.
Who's playing CNN?
Yeah, who's got something in the background?
I don't know.
All right, that's what we're noticing. Well, if there's something there, let us know.
I hear a TV.
Okay, I do too.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Not
anyways,
mine, for sure.
we'll continue to work through it. All right, go ahead and complete your thought.
All right. This is the thing I'm going to say. This is a dated reference, also a fictional character. Where in the world is if you're having a 3:30 in the morning, where in the world is Claire Huxtable? Not Cliff. Where in the world is Claire? I mean, Cliff wasn't tough, but Claire was. Where in the world is that type to just, basically we know the whole thing where she's going after him, going for the wretched, going after Vanessa and doing stuff. The thing is, these are dated references, but everybody's going to get it. But the thing I'm saying, though, is where is that mom that cares that much? That's like that's been smacking them upside the head verbally and maybe physically since they were 10. Where is that? Because if she existed, this doesn't happen.
Right.
If this type of mom exists or the dad exists, it doesn't happen. You think the thing is you're out at 3:30 because you want to have fun. You go out and you're doing all this type of stuff. It's time you're a professional.
Right.
Go get some sleep.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy, I want you to read Denzel's comments and then you comment.
Denzel says, ask Brian Robinson how that was. He had a long road back to the field. He was shot in a convenience store robbery. There's a little bit different there. And he also says, Claire Huxtable, Aunt Vivian, pretty much only 1990s black TV wife and mother. That's not true. 80s and 90s parents, period. If you go back that far, discipline was in the household. Why it wasn't against the law. There's a big difference now, and let's not get into that. Okay, now I'm going to go to where I want to go.
First Aunt Viv, not the second one. First Aunt Viv.
Right. First off, they're in their young 20s. They're young men who just got out of college and are now in the pros. What are they doing? What young men in their 20s do, what I know I did. You partied till the bar closed, and then you went looking for a piece of tail. That's what they were doing at 3:30 in the morning. They just were on the wrong side of town.
Okay. Works for me. Have to bring it up? It's news. All right. Well, here's some news that a lot of New York Mets are probably glad they don't have to deal with, and the Texas Rangers do. Jacob deGrom will undergo Tommy John surgery to repair an ulnar collateral ligament. GM Chris Young announced he was signed December 2nd, 2022 to a 5-year, $185 million deal with Texas. He also had Tommy John surgery in 2010 with the New York Mets. All right, George.
You know, the Rangers, I give them an F on this one. I mean, they did not do enough homework. Jacob's been hurt a lot during the last few years. He has not been able to complete a season in quite a while. And it's a shame because he did not deserve that contract. Yeah, they gave it to him, but foolish Rangers organization. And overall, overarching this whole thing, way too many injuries right now in baseball. Way too many injuries for pitchers especially. And Detroit is right at the top of that list. 3 or 4 of their young stars that they counted on years ago, drafted by former GM Al Avila, all hurt. Several of them with Tommy John injuries. So, but Jacob, you're a veteran, and really that's terrible that the Rangers even gave him that contract, Scott.
Well, that's their own fault. That's their own fault. All right, JB.
Listen, it's part of the game. I mean, you know, he's a great pitcher. Unfortunately, he had injury problems. You take a chance when you make that signing. The hindsight, it wasn't the right move, you know. But 2 weeks ago was a great move. Can't blame them. It's part of the game, and it happens all the time.
Okay. All right, I'll read the chat from Denzel. Rangers got to hold this, L. This is what happens when you are desperate to beat the Astros. Coming from a guy isn't he in Texas, right?
Yeah, and he's a Texans fan.
Well, there you
He's
go.
in Houston.
Yeah, well, there you go. And back to Wayne, double W's. Okay, are these pitchers over 30 but worth these contracts anymore? Scherzer, Verlander, DeGrom. You want us? That's a good question. All right. So, all right, go ahead, Mitch. Comment on your own, or with your brother, or whatever you want. If time permitting, we can get all the subjects in. We got about 2 or 3 to go, so we get you over to confidential. All right, go ahead, Mitch.
I don't think it's just the 30-year-old guys that are getting hurt. Obviously, Eduardo Cabrera got hurt in the Marlins game today. Max Fried is out, been out for a while. You know, honestly, I really think that, and I hate to say this, but I think the Tampa Bay Rays have it right. Even though they've had some injuries like Glasnow and stuff like that, they don't kill their pitchers. Their guys pitch 4 to 5 innings, and they're usually done. They're not killing arms, and there's a lot of money being spent on pitchers. It's foolish money, but, you know, it's the game. You know, it is what it is. But, you know, athletes get hurt. I mean, they're at the, you know, they're physically fit better than anybody else, but they're, you know, these pitchers are putting taxing, you know, torque on their arm, and they're throwing pitches, 4 or 5 different pitches. You know, I know, like, look, you know, I'm a Marlins fan, obviously, and I'm in South Florida, but let's take a look at Sandy Alcantara, right? Won a Cy Young last year. I think he's 2-6 right now, or 2-5. You know, obviously, you know, they're making changes to baseball for different reasons. I think one of them is to protect pitchers. So, you know, things like that.
Help them.
You know, they're trying to help them, but even though, you know, whatever it is, but, you know, I just think it's a game. They need to limit the amount of pitchers. There's a lot more. If you look at the lineups on the major league teams, they're all carrying more relief pitchers now. There's a reason why they're doing that. So, you know, let's stop giving the big money to all these pitchers. Let's start building teams through the bullpen. Pitch, you know, it obviously works, like I said, in Tampa, where they're not going long in starts, and, you know, that's it. You won't have the injuries. I feel bad for DeGrom, great pitcher. You know, 4 or 5 years ago, his last few years have been sketchy because he's been injured the whole time. And for his sake, I hope he retires now. Don't keep going through it. There's no need to go through it again, because it's going to happen and happen and happen. And he's, you know, a shell of what he was.
Okay, Jacob.
And in other pundit news, I bring these things up on Facebook, and I bring it up on there, and I bring it up everywhere. Anytime that you compare Jacob deGrom to Bob Gibson, I'm going to blast the stupidity, because this is what the Code Red 10,000 media does. And this is and these type of things. It's just the same as how many times I absolutely go on blast on James Harden and Justin Fields and fans against Justin Fields, really. But this is the same thing. I've done it with deGrom. It's like, duh. I was saying this from day one with the Rangers. Duh. He was going to get hurt. Duh. He's the most dominant pitcher we've seen in the league when he's pitching. But he goes 3.2. He goes 3.2. He gets himself a hangnail and says, ow. Big help. I mean, and it's like, go get the guys in. But you bring another thing, Mitch. I want to bring this part up about the sheltering pitchers. It's no when you do this much sheltering, it's no different from the parents that sheltered the kids. And then they bubble wrapped them, and then the kids get sick. Then the kids can't handle themselves in the real world. And then you have all this kind of stuff. When the parents died, then they're a mess. It's the same darn thing. Pitchers used to do 2 or 3 straight, 4 straight complete games. Didn't have this kind of pain. Something happened in the midst of it. Like I said, lawyers and the agents run this world now, so we understand this. But the biggest issue we have is when you over-shelter, you get hurt. We're going to be going to confidential in just a few minutes. JB and I are. We have our show. We're going to be talking about Kyle Hendricks, who's my favorite pitcher, but he struggled. And the thing about this is the fact that he's an 84-mile-per-hour pitcher who had a shoulder problem. It's like this is what he could be. With his range and his motion, he could have gone. If you don't take him out at 6 or 7, he could have been that one that you could have done complete game after complete game and just let it build it up. But instead, he had his shoulder problem. He had his surgery, and now he's struggling to get himself back. And it's like sometimes you just got to quit sheltering.
Okay, Jeremy, and then I'm going to go to 2 comments in the chat room, and then I'm going to let JB and Jacob go, and we're going to wrap it up. I have a few topics, but I'll address them next week so everybody gets a crack at them. So go ahead, Jeremy.
Jacob deGrom. Thank you. You proved me right again. The over-under for him being injured was 70 games. He didn't make it. I won my bet.
Okay. All right, let's go to the chat room a little bit. We got Luis Arraez, reminds me of Young Rod Crew. I think that's a really good comparison. I like that one. And, of course, the one after that, tell that to Mickey Lolich. He won. I love anytime Mickey Lolich is brought up. I love it anyways. Who won 3 or 4 games against St. Louis. Oh, can't bring up those memories. Those are music to my ears. Denzel, damn.
Jeremy.
Damn, Jeremy, you're evil.
All right.
Yes.
And, of course, in high school, I really do like it's 75.
I lost my bet on OBJ. I bet on him to be injured 10 steps onto the tarmac.
All right,
is there anything you won't bet on?
No.
Okay.
All right, well, since we have a full house here, I want to make sure we get to confidential on time. I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to get a hold of them. So, you know what, Mitch, why don't you start first since you're the brand new person? Looking forward to having you on a future edition of the Sports Exchange as we go through the rotation with your brother and Matt and whoever else. So, but I'm glad you made your debut tonight. So why don't you let everybody know how they get a hold of you, Mitch?
You got it. You can reach me at soccermitch6@yahoo.com or at soccermitch on Twitter. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I thank you guys very much. Lively talk. Obviously, I think I spoke to you earlier today, and the whole Messi thing was starting to come down, and it's been coming. So, we're happy to have Leo Messi playing in the United States. It'll be here perfect timing with the World Cup coming in 2026, and he'll help build the sport again as Pele did in the 70s. Once again, and obviously being a South Florida sports fan, we have the greatest year of sports ongoing ever in South Florida right now, and hopefully it'll stay like this for a while. But we have FAU and the University of Miami in college basketball. You got the Heat and the Panthers. Now you got Intermiami getting Leo Messi. It's just a great year for South Florida sports, and we hope to keep it continuing. And, hopefully the Miami Dolphins, even though I'm not a Dolphin fan, will follow suit like everybody else, because if not, everybody would be upset because things all seem to ebb and flow with the Miami Dolphins in South Florida. Thanks, guys.
All right. Let me mention Denzel Snipes, Baby Bears baseball coming up next. That's what Confidential is. All right, go ahead. And, yeah, we know Wayne Weinstein at Nova Southeastern University won Division II men's basketball. All right, over to Jacob.
Well, right now I'm going to set a bet between the Ballreich brothers and the Weinstein brothers at WrestleMania for the steel match.
We're younger, I think.
Yeah. All right.
I'm 52.
No, okay.
Oh no, then we're older. That's okay.
I got
My dad is 70.
There you go. My dad's 87. It's
Okay.
Sunday nights I'm Basket Bros. Monday nights I got Pundit Views. I do interviews with this, and I had a good one on a Sunday special. Tuesday nights I'm off. Wednesday nights the 3 shows: Pundit, the this one, the Sports Exchange, and Confidential. Thursdays, when we get ourselves back up, we're gonna probably do it pretty soon. Yin and Yang, which is off sports and off the network. Fridays, when I'm asked, and I'm on the bench usually. It's the Gauntlets as a bench, and then back to normal. And I'm also helping work on a couple movies right now, so staying busy.
Okay, Jeremy.
Oh, why don't you let JB go, because they got to get the cup defender.
All right. Well, all right. Go ahead, JB.
JB_ the program on Twitter. Confidential coming up in about 9 minutes. Don't forget Sideline Sports Tuesday 8:30. NFL Alumni Media. Make sure you're watching that. We'll see you guys next week.
You got it. Good luck over at Confidential. Hope you and Jacob have a great show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye, guys.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
now there are 4. Okay, Jeremy.
You can find me at the SouthFloridaTribune.com under the Motor City Tribune heading, where you can find me under a list of authors with Scott Morganroth and George Eichhorn, and I'm quite sure Mitch might have read a couple of my things there. And my dad will be 74 next month. I forgot he was 21 when I was born. But anyways, that being said, I love doing this show. And you can also find me on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel any day when Scott needs me. I'll come in here. I'll give my peace of mind. Sometimes I make him even flip his hat. That being said, I also have my channel, which is Kneecap Biting with the Detroit Lions. I'm Smoking Jeremy B. I'm the host of that show. I also do the NFL Roundtable Talks on Wednesday. I'm doing an interview show called The Jeremy Ballrick Show, where I interview different sports personalities and podcasters. And I have a Saturday show called Kneecap's Main Event with Main Event Mike of Main Event 365, where we talk about the latest Lions news.
All right. So, hi, Brian. Thank you very much, Denzel. All right, George Eichhorn, go ahead.
Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air is the name of my book. It's been out for a few years, but if anyone would like to get a copy of it, there's a link at the end of my column on the Motor City Tribune, which is, as Jeremy mentioned, under the South Florida Tribune banner. And I also contribute to 108 Stitches and to the Pigskin Show and Sports Exchange, wherever Scott needs me. And you can reach me at gicorn@yahoo.com or on LinkedIn under my name. Or on Twitter, I'm at SandGSports99, and you can also read me in the Detroit Monitor. Thank you.
All right, and lastly for us, the audio version of the Sports Exchange can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. The show is being broadcast around the world. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? Participate in the chat room. That's one way to do it. Send your topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, call me at 954-304-4941. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Also, you can find me on Twitter at Tribune South. And our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Candy Ebley does an incredible job. A couple of quick announcements before we call it a night. Jeremy Ballrick and I will start our first show together. I'm trying to make sure that we can get it pushed through, but as it stands, it's going to be the professor and the pupil talking sports. And tomorrow night here on No Limits, I'm going to have a really good broadcast, and it's going to be from Ticketsmarter.com. The CEO of the company, Jeff Goodman, went ahead and contact me from LinkedIn. So if you're ever on LinkedIn, that's good stuff. Don't be surprised if I ask him a question or two about the gouging job that Intermiami is going to do locally with all this that's taking place. But meanwhile, I want to thank our crew again: JB Ellis, Jacob Christner, George Eichhorn, Jeremy Ballrick, and Mitch Weinstein. Good first act. Looking forward to having you down the line. And we're looking forward to seeing your brother, Wayne, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing Matt as well. So meanwhile, folks, on behalf of the crew I just mentioned, my name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Mad Mouth. Thank you for being on this edition of the Sports Exchange, and we will catch you the next time.